It's okay. First, it was asking me for a password, but now it's saying prepare.
Okay, hold on one sec. Hold on one sec. Hang on a second. These guys have got to. We kind of had to jimmy something behind. Oh no. Oh wait, yes it is.
Okay, I'm in.
Right.
Karen.
What is it saying?
I'm in.
Okay, so. All right. Are you good?
I think so. Thank you.
Right.
Okay. Good morning. Good morning.
Hi.
Good morning, Senator.
How you doing?
I'm okay. They tested me this morning, but I'm going to prevail.
Oh, that's okay.
So we had to get a new notice. I'm just making sure that everybody has it.
Okay.
We had to get a new link, so just give me a minute.
Good morning, Senator Patterson.
Good morning, everyone. You guys are on mute, so you might have to take off mute. Senator Patterson, you're on mute. Senator Augustine, you're on mute.
Okay, it said the host is not allowing participants to unmute. That's all right, we'll be okay.
Hello, Crystal.
Hi, Tosha. I'm sorry this is,
I know. My first meeting, everything went haywire.
That's okay.
Get it out of the way early.
Okay. So it looks like Senator Benson, it looks like more people are joining. So
okay.
We should be ready in just a minute. Also, Senator Benson, just an update. At 10:15, we will have Terrence Shepard from the Liquor Board will be joining us to answer any questions.
Okay.
Okay, we have Senator Rosapath, Senator Augustine, Senator Patterson, Senator Young. We're still waiting on a few others. Just a minute.
Okay. Well, if you want to just wait a few more minutes and then we'll get started. Because so
I'm gonna grab a cup of coffee. I'll be right back.
So I'm glad that we have a representative coming from the Liquor Board.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Just 1 second. I'm going to, Senator Griffith is having some problems. Let me see if I can get her in.
Okay.
Senator Jackson is joining. Okay. Okay. Good morning, Senators. My apologies for the confusion this morning. OIS had some issues.
Good morning.
Good morning, Senator Jackson.
Good morning, Madam Chair. How are you?
I'm doing wonderful. Just glad to be here. Okay, can we get started now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, good morning, everyone. First of all, I want to thank everybody. Good morning, Senator Griffin.
Good morning, Madam Chair.
Madam Speaker Pro Tem.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
it's nice to see you this morning.
Good to see you as well. Good to see
Yes.
everybody.
I want to thank you all for convening this meeting this morning because we do have a lot on the agenda that we need to discuss. And so we headed into an interesting session here. It's been very busy, but the wonderful thing is that we're getting things done. So that to me is very refreshing. I want to take this few moments to introduce the new legislative director who is doing a phenomenal job. I'm going to have her to come on board right now for a couple of minutes to introduce herself and give you just a little background. I think that she did share with you all her resume, but I want her to come on board. We're very excited about the fact that that she comes in. She's coming in from Atlanta, Georgia, and but I'm going to let her speak now to talk to us just a few moments about her background.
Good morning, Senators. Again, thank you for your patience this morning. I'm excited to be joining you all. My name is Tosha. The P is silent, so don't let it throw you off when you see it. The P is completely silent. And then on the House side, there's La Tosha. So I know it's a little weird, but everybody should be able to adjust. I have over 20 years of experience, legislative experience. I've been a chief of staff for a state senator, a chief of staff for a city council president, and also a chief of staff for a nonprofit and corporate organization that did political work. I love the DMV area. I did leave for a year and go to Georgia, did not like it. So just came back. Excited to be able to hit the ground running and working with you all. Most of my legislative work, though, was done in the state of Wisconsin. So have been trying to acclimate to things here, but I'm really excited to be with you all. And I want to set up one-on-ones with each of you, even if it's just 10 minutes, to kind of know what your priorities are in the district, if that's okay with you.
Thank you very much, Tosha. So we're, as you can see, we are bringing on board the best and the brightest because I think Prince George's County truly deserves the best and the brightest. And so we're very excited and delighted Tosha is on board to work with us.
They're in the middle of a meeting.
We're going to move on right now into our new business. Before we move into the new business, is there anyone, are there any senators who would like to add any items for discussion? Senator Augustine, do you have any updates relative to WMATA?
No, Madam Chair, I do not. I followed up with the Prince George's County board member for WMATA, made him aware of it as well, but I have not yet heard from the manufacturer or any other stakeholders at this point.
Okay, the moment that you hear, and it doesn't sound like it's going to be agreeable for us, you let us know so that we can give you full throat support, because it would be shameful for anything to go up to Washington County, Hagerstown. That's unbelievable, but that's another story for another day. So maybe if you could follow up on that and let us know where we are, that, you know, we got to be careful here because people do sneaky things and we don't want anybody to do anything that's going to be detrimental to Prince George's County and what we're trying to do in the way of keeping WMATA here in Prince George's County.
Absolutely. We'll do that.
Okay. All right. The new business,
Madam Chair,
the county executive, I think
Madam-
that.
Madam
Yes.
Chair,
Yes.
Senator Jackson, you asked if we had anything to add. Reading through the county's priorities, I would love to somehow ensure that when we're talking about healthcare, that we include the Southern Maryland Hospital as well. They have over 4,000 employees at that facility, and it covers the southern area of Prince George's County. So,
The Southern Maryland Hospital.
yes, ma'am, MedStar Southern Maryland Hospital.
Is there anybody here that has the information?
I can enlighten.
Okay,
We're
that'd
actually,
be fine.
we're actually
You wanna
gathering
add that?
information, but yes, ma'am.
Okay,
Thank you.
that's very important. Is there anybody else who has anything that you want to add to the agenda? Okay, we have with us this morning, Tosha, who is going to give us the legislative priorities for Prince George's County?
Oh, come on.
Good morning, Senators. So in your packet, you should have received email and also delivered to your office, something that looks like this. I don't know, you can't see it because of my background, but it is the 2022 legislative priorities for Prince George's County from the county executive's office. You should have an electronic copy of it and also a hard copy. The things that were discussed last week, I don't know if any of you have any carryover from the meeting on last Monday with the county exec of the things that she brought up. No?
I
So-
know she had three, it seems to me that she had three priorities that were very important to Prince George's County that she discussed with us. Is there anyone here from the county executive's office that could kind of elaborate on those items, or is there a need for us to do it?
Ron is on the call, Senator.
Yeah, Madam Chair, didn't she present this to us in person about a month ago? I don't want to spend a lot of time on this. I think we have it written. I think she presented it to us.
Okay. All right. Does anyone have any questions relative to the legislative priorities? If not, we want to move right into the first item, the first piece of legislation that we need to discuss.
Madam Chair, I do have one thing for Mr. Young. I know the hospital expansion was one of the areas. When I spoke to Angela a couple weeks ago, I asked her whether she had gone to the Maryland Hospital Association to try to get it added to their list. They always submit a list of their priorities from the hospital association. Now, sometimes that's a year or two in the making, so we're probably far down on the queue, but I wanted to know whether it's been added or a request has been added to the Maryland Hospital Association when they submit their independent list of capital projects to the governor.
And so I'm not, I would have to follow up,
I'm
Senator, if I
sorry,
can
you're
answer
thinking
that
in
question.
terms of the cancer center? Okay, thank you very much for being here. Thank you, Ron.
And so, Senator, I will have to follow up on the specifics of whether or not we've been added to that list. I don't have that information right now, but I'll definitely follow up with both the delegation and your office. It's our understanding that UMS is leading the effort on getting the capital funding there. We had a briefing with them, and I think they do plan to brief both the House and the Senate delegation on where they are in that process. But I'll definitely follow up on the specifics of being added to the association's list.
Thank you.
Thank you very much on that. Thank you, Senator Penske. I do know that there was a request, the county executive had requested money for the cancer center. Is that a part of the expansion? Is that what you're talking about? Is that a part of what you're discussing?
Yep, yep.
Senator Bensky? Okay, all right. All righty. When can we, Ron, when can we get the briefing?
So we can provide any information that we have to you today, but unfortunately that's a presentation that UMS is running themselves. And so we would have to reach out to Dr. Richardson in the hospital to see when they can provide that briefing. That's not something that the county executive is presenting, but that's something that they've presented to us and that they are then going to the delegations to present themselves. As UMS is
We
not-
need to know how we need to know how soon that can happen so we can put it on our schedule because that's very important.
Okay, so I'll work with your legislative director on getting the contacts to schedule that meeting.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Senator Jackson, you're on now to talk about your bill, Senate Bill 233.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you, Madam Chair, members of the Prince George's Senate delegation. Before you have Senate Bill 233, Prince George's County Natural Resources Sunday deer hunting and archery hunting safety zones. If you recall last year, this piece of legislation was before our local delegation. It passed 6-2 and it did not, it passed 6-2 out of this delegation. Just briefly, I live in the southern region of the county. We have a tremendous challenge with the deer herds down here. Any day I can drive in my yard and have anywhere from 15 to over 20 deer in my yard. In the southern region of the county, we also do not have shoulders on our roadways. So as you're driving and traversing these roads in the southern part of the county, it's not uncommon to see deer carcass on the roads, not uncommon to see vehicles on the side of the road that have been damaged due to the deer population. This will allow Sunday deer hunting during from the, I think it's the first Sunday in October through the second Sunday in January inclusive, and it would also reduce the archery efforts from 150 down to 50 yards from a dwelling. Just to keep in mind, ladies and gentlemen, this bill is enabling for only private property. It's not for public property. It's only for private property. And in order for a person to be able to hunt on these properties, they need permission from the owner. There's also a setback from the edges of the property to help ensure that we're minimizing the danger of citizens. Madam Chair, with that, I would offer to this delegation to hopefully pass this bill out as we did last session so that we can help mitigate our deer migration herd efforts we have here on the southern side of the county. Thank you.
Okay, are there any
Chair.
questions
Madam
relative
Chair.
to, yes. Are there any questions relative to Senate Bill 233?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just had a quick question, I guess, for the sponsor or for the delegation. I'm not clear the posture that the position this bill is in. Is this a delegation bill or is this a statewide bill that's in a standing committee on the Senate side?
No, ma'am. This is it's my bill for Prince George's County to be added to the list of 20 other counties for Sunday deer hunting.
No, I understand what the bill does. I'm just not clear. Is this a delegation bill or a statewide bill that you're asking a position from the delegation? Like, was this filed through the local House delegation or what? Yeah.
No, it will be filed on the House side as well. We're asking for this to be a House delegation bill. Yes.
Okay, so process-wise, it's not in a Senate standing committee yet. Is that
No, ma'am.
correct?
No.
Okay.
No, it will go from here to EE as it did session.
Okay. Am I
And
not
Senator
asking?
Roosevelt? Oh, I'm
Oh.
sorry.
No, I'm not sure if I'm asking the right question. I guess, Senator Penske, does this bill come directly to your committee?
It will, but we will not move until the delegation votes on it.
On the House or the Senate?
The Senate, I guess.
Okay, I'm confused, but I'll just be quiet.
It's my understanding it's a local bill that is being filed late. So in other words, it'll be introduced, it'll be assigned to our committee, we'll have a hearing. We won't move it until we get a letter from the delegation. The House, I can't speak for the House, what they're going to do with it or how they're going to handle it.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Senator Benson, we have two people with their hands raised. Senator Rosapap first.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. I do remember this bill generally, but I want to just clarify because, as you know, my district in Northern Prince George's County is a little different than your district in Southern Prince George's County. And so what is the setback from other people's property and from public property? So someone in the house next door to me and, shooting bows and arrows at the deer that walks through the park next to our community.
Yeah, you have to be 50 feet from any dwelling on the property that you're allowing the hunting, and it's roughly 150 feet from setback from the next door.
Or a public property?
Or public property, yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Thanks very much.
Senator Penske.
Yeah, Madam Chair, Senator Jackson, I'm very sympathetic and I support the targeted shoot from DNR where they send sharpshooters to areas to try to thin the herd. Deer are a danger. I get that. However, I hear from the Maryland Horse Council, and while it's on private property, bullets don't stop at the end of the property. And a lot of people who ride horses in Southern Maryland want to be able to ride and not be concerned that they're going to have a bullet whiz by their head or potentially harmed. So that's been an ongoing concern, and that's why we haven't expanded it when a number of other jurisdictions have asked for increasing Sunday hunting. Some jurisdictions have negotiated with Horse Council to limit it from sunrise to 10:30 a.m. So other people who want to walk or hike in woods, maybe enjoying private property or ride a horse in private property. So without being concerned they're going to get a bullet in them. So I have a personal concern. I'm sympathetic to the idea of thinning the herd, but expanding Sunday hunting when people can hunt on Saturday really doesn't leave other people the opportunity to enjoy the outdoors in the late fall. So it's a concern for myself and some of my committee, just want to get it out there. And if there's a way we can ameliorate this problem or negotiate this problem, I'd like to do so to avoid some of the other issues that come up.
I am, thank you, sir. I'm amenable to working this out. Again, I live right in the heart of it. Probably 1, 2, 3, at least I have 23 homes in my community, and probably 4 of those homes have horses. Folks behind me across the creek actually breed the Anheuser-Busch horses. So there are a lot of horse riders that live in this community. So anyway, we can work this out. I think, this is not only for the hunters, this is for the safety of the citizens that live in this region of the county. So thank you.
Okay.
Sorry, Senator Augustine had his hand raised.
I did, and then I lowered it. Thank you.
Oh, okay. My apologies. I'm sorry, Senator Benson.
Yes, what I think we need to do is then, if Senator Jackson, if you're amenable to working with Senator Penske to iron out the kinks, I think it would be wise for us to move the bill out of the committee, out of the Senate committee, so that in fact it could get to Senator Penske's committee so that this could be worked out. Is that something that seems to make sense?
Makes sense to me, man. Yes, Madam Chair.
Sorry, my hand is now back up, Madam Chair.
Senator Augustine?
Yeah, it's already been assigned to Senator Penske's committee. It's not, I'm looking on the website. It's in the committee.
It's in the committee.
Yeah. So it's not like it didn't get there. It's just, I'm just saying, if we're going to try to figure something and work something out, then they probably just need to work something out.
Okay, all right, that sounds good. Thank you. Thank you for that, Senator Augustine. Okay, so I would think that at this point in time, is there a need for the delegation to take a position relative to this bill since it's already in committee?
You know, don't do it.
Well, Madam Chair.
Yes.
I mean, the bill only applies to Prince George's, right, Senator Jackson?
Yes.
So it would seem to me, I mean, I defer to Senator Jackson, Senator Pinsky, but I would assume that it would be important for the delegation to take a position on it.
All right. So we now have to take a position to support and then have the bill moved on. It's already in committee, which is what Senator Augustine is saying, but I think that's the bill that deals with the other counties that already have this in place. Why don't we go on and why don't we go on and move on the bill and as a local delegation, move on the bill to reinforce our support of the bill, and then have the senators to work the verbiage out.
Madam Chair, this is Jim Early. Could I make a slightly different suggestion? Given the conversation, I think if Senator Jackson and Senator Pinsky were to get together and see if they can work this out and then come back to the delegation, it might be a little smoother.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that, Senator Jackson, Senator Pinsky?
Are you amenable to that, Senator Pinsky, Senator Jackson?
I
My
am.
only concern is how often is the delegation going to meet? I mean, look, we can Senator Pinsky and I can figure this thing out. I just don't know how often we're going to be meeting. If the delegation votes the bill out, that means we need to go forward. If it doesn't vote the bill out, then there's no reason to meet. So,
But we all have had a chance to read the bill. So I think it might be well for us to vote on it now to move it on.
I agree with that.
Senator Pinsky?
Yeah, I don't think the bill's been scheduled yet for a hearing. I guess I would support Senator Rosapep that I'd like to work it out before we vote on it rather than later, because sending it in the form it's in now sends a message to the committee that it's fine like it is. And I guess I'd like to, we'll meet in 1 week or 2 weeks at the latest, and the bill's not going to move before then. So I would like to hold off on voting today, and Senator Jackson and I sit down and talk.
Okay, are you amenable to that, Senator Jackson?
Yes, thank you.
We're going to be meeting every 2 weeks.
Thank you.
All right. Okay.
Dances arranged for piano and performed by
all right. Senate Bill 379, Carolina County, Charles County, Prince George's County, removal of board. You all did get the bill. Now you all know what the bill is attempting to do.
Yeah.
Live from NPR News, I'm Joel Snyder.
Where is that noise coming from?
Someone's TV or something is in the background. Can you mute?
Courtroom in Georgia this hour. Federal prosecutors in their hate crime.
Thank you.
Yeah, Jackson. Madam Chair, I think we pretty well beat this bill to death. I think it's been around a number of times. It's basically a straightforward committee, but if I might say is that I think early in the session, the 3 counties that was not a part of this legislation that would have removed the final decision on disciplinary action from a school board member rests with the governor. So this bill now sort of moves that to the state committee. And there were 3 counties. Those 3 counties are now all on board with this particular bill. So all 24 counties are in line with the proposed legislation. So I think we're pretty well set.
And if you'll notice, this bill is bipartisan. You see Senator Eckert, who went back to Caroline County to talk with the council and the mayor in Caroline County. And so they're very much on board, Charles County.
County and Carroll County.
And so and you all know what the bill does. It just brings us in line with all the other counties. Okay? I think we definitely need to move on this. Do we have a motion to move on Senate Bill 379?
Madam Chair, before you move.
I'm sorry. Is there any discussion?
Let me get my hand up too.
Go ahead, Senator Jackson.
Thank you. Madam Chair, you said Senator Eckert talked about Caroline County or Carroll County? She's
Caroline. It's Caroline County.
Thought she was Talbot County.
Well, she has several counties.
I thought that was Senator Hershey. I may have it mixed up, but
No, she's got mid-shore, Michael. She's got about three counties mid-shore.
okay. I thought that was Steve Hershey. Okay, all right.
He's upper shore.
Gotcha. Okay.
Senator Benson, Senator Patterson had his hand raised as well.
Procedurally, where, you were in the midst of saying we need to vote on this today. Are we not going to take this to the delegation?
We're in delegation.
I mean, I thought we nominally wait when the bill comes from the House, but okay, if you want to vote it, let's go.
I don't think we ought to wait. I think we need to move this bill.
Okay, let's go.
Since in the world, why would we just cannot, this is something that we need to take care of. We need to come in line with the other counties. That's what
Madam Chair, I move favorable on 379.
Second.
It's been moved and properly second that we give full support to Senate Bill 379. Are you ready? Are there any questions?
Yes, I'm voting aye.
Okay. Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Is there anyone opposing? Okay, that's unanimous. Okay. Moving right along, we're going to move on to the next bill. Senator Pinsky.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
Mr. Dean.
Late this fall or early this winter, Senator Augustine brought to my attention that no one had addressed redistricting with the school board. And he was absolutely right. Sort of fell between the cracks. Obviously, the county council had acted. We were acting at the state level. So given that, I requested DLS look at the population of the school board districts and come up with a map that did the least bit of change possible. So Ms. Davis, who's familiar with redistricting in DLS, worked on the statewide, looked at the population. She said, look, you only need a few minor changes. And as it turned out, we only had to change one precinct from, I want to say, either mid-county to the Bowie. I don't remember the school board district numbers. I think out of the whole county, we had to move one precinct, maybe two. So I didn't want to wait any longer. We made sure that it wouldn't have displaced any of the existing school board members. We didn't want to replicate what the county council did. So I had a bill drafted. I've shown it to all of you. I think I dropped it just so it's on record. And I wanted to put it in counter distinction to the action of the county council, so we did no harm. So that's all it does. The state has to act for one person, one vote every 10 years with the school board. That's what it's done. I've shared it with the House delegation chair, Charles. I don't know if he needs to have a local hearing. That's his call. I don't care whose name it is. I think actually, since everyone co-sponsored it, I made it a delegation bill rather than the Pinsky bill. So that's the sum total of it. I think I shared with everybody the old map, the new map, and the one precinct or two precincts that changed. So that's what I have.
Okay. Questions? Any discussion?
Madam Chair, this is.
I'm sorry.
I'm sorry, Senator Jackson. I didn't put my hand up. Senator Jackson.
Senator Pinsky, Senator Roosevelt.
Senator Jackson first.
I'm sorry. I lowered it. I'm sorry.
Oh, I see. Okay, no problem. I'm all for this, but I'm just curious, and maybe Paul, you know the answer, maybe somebody else knows the answer. If we didn't act on this, what would happen?
That's cool.
Well, that's a great question, Jim. I don't know. I think we'd be out of compliance. I think one would be over the 3 or 5% threshold. I mean, I guess, if nothing happened, I guess someone could have standing with a court and say they were being discriminated against.
Gotcha, makes sense.
I don't know. I wanted to avoid that situation.
I agree. We shouldn't find out. No, I'm on board. Thank you.
Okay. Are there any other questions?
Move favorable.
Second.
Been moving properly second that we support to this bill that deals the sensible bill that deals with school board districts redistricting plan. Are you ready to vote?
Right.
All who are in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Are there anyone who disagrees? Okay, moving right along. Senate Bill 99, cigarette, tobacco products, and electronic smoking devices. Local law or authorization. Now, my wonderful friends, this has to do with the emergence of these tobacco and grocery stores. I don't know whether any of you have visited, and this is Senator Kramer's bill, to be quite frank with you. And I wanted to bring it to you all's attention. I don't know whether or not we want to act on it or not, but I want to tell you about the importance of it. We are now having an emergence of tobacco and tobacco and grocery stores. What has happened is I notified the comptroller's office and they sent in a team to take a look at the tobacco stores in Glenarden, because all of a sudden we saw 3 tobacco stores and you could walk from one to the other. We found that to be very interesting. So they sent a team in from the comptroller's office and they did the inspection. In one of the stores, they confiscated $12,000 worth of illegal cigarettes that had been brought in from Virginia and Delaware. Other store, it was $28,000 worth of illegal tobacco products. But what we found even more amazing was the number of drug paraphernalia products that were in the stores and some of the other instruments that were there and some of the other things that were in the stores. We became very concerned about that. So we asked the people from the tobacco from the state, why on earth are we having these problems? They indicated to us that there were not enough staff to cover the entire state of Maryland. And they felt very strongly that we would be better served if each county regulated these tobacco and grocery stores. Right now, Prince George's County does not regulate these tobacco and grocery stores. We do not regulate. So when I talked with Senator Kramer, he made a decision. He said, we're having the same problem in Montgomery County and in other counties. So that is when he decided that he wanted to put this bill in to deal with the distribution of distribution of cigarettes and other tobacco products and electronic smoking devices. You all know what they are. And it would put the regulation of these stores in the hands of counties. That's what it does. Senator Jackson?
Yes, ma'am, Madam Chair. So if we were to, this legislation were to pass, this would go to the county council, or, in Prince George, we have 27 municipalities. So I'm just trying to understand how it would work. I agree with the concept.
That's the only part of this bill that I have some concerns relative to. I think that the regulating of these stores should be in the hands of the county. and not the municipalities.
Okay.
That is my only concern. I don't know whether or not we need to act on it, but I wanted to bring it to you all's attention because this is a serious problem. Not only that, but we're looking at data now that shows that there has, since these tobacco stores have cropped up in our communities, they prevail mainly in communities of low income and people of color. That's a problem. And not only that, but what's even more startling and upsetting for me personally is that we're beginning to see more of our youngsters and our people smoking.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, and the reason I asked the question is because the language stipulates a county or municipality. Thank you.
Right. That's the only piece that concerns me. And I'm having the discussion with Senator Kramer. But I wanted to bring that to you all's attention because it is a problem.
Thank you.
Okay. I don't think there's a need for us to vote on it at this point in time because, okay, Senator Penske and then Senator Roosevelt.
Madam Chair, I think Senator Roosevelt preceded me.
Okay,
that's okay. Go first, Paul. That's fine. No problem. Maybe you'll have...
I just need to understand this, and I'm very in agreement with you, Madam Chair. This would allow the county to enforce it as well as the state. State would still have purview, but they're saying they don't have enough enforcement staff in the field. Do I have that right? I mean, it's not taking away from the state. I assume the comptroller's office, alcohol, tobacco, et cetera, still has oversight, but this would expand the governmental agencies that could enforce it as well as the state. Do I have that
right? Right.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
I have two questions and one thought. The question is, why has this become a problem recently? Does anybody have any idea? I have no idea. I've never heard of it before. What changed that led to this? Anybody know?
No, all of a sudden we're seeing these tobacco stores crop up all over the place. And you know what's even more since tobacco and groceries? Well, if you go to the grocery, and I think Ron wants to comment on this, but before he does, I want you to know if you visited these tobacco and grocery stores, the cost of the groceries are off the hook. So a person who is from low income could not afford to buy the groceries that are in there. So the focus, it seems, is on tobacco products. And all of a sudden, we're seeing this store crop up in our community.
Gotcha. Thank you, Madam Chair. Ron, did you want to add something?
Yeah, I think just to your question, Senator, and then also to Senator Penske's previous question. I think this has been an issue that's come up in the last few sessions in some form. I don't know if it hasn't moved far, but it really stems from actually an issue that started in Prince George's County. I think it was 2013. We had a lawsuit on this where we were attempting to have stricter laws, and then the state law preempted the local laws that we established by the county council. And so we took it up, and it died on appeals. And so they said that we couldn't have more stringent laws for tobacco. So we are one of those states that do, state law preempts local laws.
I got you. So with the preemption, it exploded. I got you.
Yeah.
Well, one thing, just because I have two large municipalities in my district that are pretty good at enforcing things, I would prefer to keep the option for the municipalities to be able to play a role as well. So that puts less burden on the county in those municipalities. So I'd be inclined to keep the municipalities in.
Keep them in?
Yeah, I'd keep them in. Just in my experience, my rural in College Park, they're good at enforcing things. And if they can do it, then the county doesn't have to, and the county can worry about places that aren't in the municipalities. That'd be my suggestion.
Ron, what's the county council's position on it? I know that they've had the discussion.
So in general, both the county council and the county exec's office are really supportive of this bill. I mean, it stems from an issue that we've had in trying to regulate. And so we want tougher restrictions at the local level. And so this just gives us the tools to be able to provide those regulations at the local level. And so we're okay with the language as it stands currently as well.
So you want to leave municipalities in?
Yeah, we just think it shares in the responsibility, shares in the enforcement. And so if they have local enforcement agencies already, we would definitely take any support that we get from our municipalities in enforcing county laws.
Okay. Senator Penske?
Yeah, Madam Chair, one more question, I guess for Ron. Besides enforcement, the bill says that the county may enact and enforce local laws that are at least as stringent as provisions of this title. So another purpose of this is to abrogate the court decision and to allow counties to have more stringent laws than the state.
Correct. That's the basis of the bill, is to be allow the local authorities, the county, to have more stringent laws than are currently at the state in regulating. So basically removing that preemption from tobacco products.
Okay, and do we have that authority? I guess is my question.
This bill would give us that authority. Correct.
Okay. Okay. Thank you.
Okay. Do you all see a need for us to give support on this bill, or just have the discussion so that everyone is aware of the fact that it is important for Prince George's County? I'm telling you all. And I've had this discussion with Senator Kramer. It's very important, because we can't allow these tobacco stores to continue to crop up all over the place, and they're not being regulated. And not only that, but what's even more upsetting for me is when I went to the one on Martin Luther King Highway, the young man that was there spoke little or no English. And that was, well, maybe he didn't want to understand what I was trying to say to him, the questions that were asking. But that seemed to be a problem.
Madam Chair.
So what do you all want to do? Do you want to just discuss the bill and move on? Or what's your thought on this?
Madam Chair, Senator Jackson has a question.
I just have thank you. So probably a comment more than a question. Look, I'm I guess if we're not concerned about the municipality concept here, then I'm ready to vote for it. I like you. All over the place, these tobacco 24/7 tobacco stores are cropping up. The electronic smoking devices stores are cropping up. And I think we need to get a hold of it. And if this will help us get beyond that appeal, then I think it's the right thing for us to do. And I think we ought to act on it. So that's my opinion.
What about the issuance of the license? Is that from the state of Ron? Do you know who issues these? Is it Maryland? Who issues the license for these stores to open in the first place?
I would have to go back in terms of, I do believe it's some shared responsibility, but I mean, one deferred to, I see Kenny Battle is joining the call and is more involved on the local level, but that's something I would have to get back to on the specifics and how this bill affects that.
Yes, we need to know this information before we take, because I'll have to tell you, that's the other thing. We have these agencies that issue these licenses, and with no regard to the impact that it's having in communities like the ones that I have referred to. These are communities where we have people of color and people who are poor. That's where these tobacco stores are, and it is leading to a crisis situation if we're not careful. As much money as we have spent discouraging people from smoking, we're now having the emergence of tobacco stores that's increasing the number of people who smoke, which ends up with lung cancer and all kinds of diseases, and overloads our hospitals and our medical facilities. And it's a burden on us as taxpayers. Okay.
Madam Chair, can I say something quickly about the licenses?
Yes.
So I'm not sure who's issuing them, but I do know that the bill actually exempts licensing of these facilities and taxing of them. So that would still stay at the state level. The bill is specific to the sale and distribution.
Say that again.
So licensing would still stay at whoever is doing the licensing now. The bill specifically exempts licensing and taxation from the transfer of authority or the broadening of authority to counties and municipalities.
Be the comptroller's office.
Okay.
Wow.
So yeah, the bill is specific to the sale and distribution.
Wow.
Let's keep going.
The comptroller's office.
Ooh. Senator Augustine, we're going to come down the list here. Senator Augustine.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Colleagues, we already had this hearing in Senate Finance, and the opposition to the legislation came primarily from convenience stores and folks like that.
Sales.
Royal Farms, which I thought was just fascinating. I'll just share with you all that Royal Farms presented, the number was either 36% or 39%. I have to go back and look, but that cigarettes were that percentage of their in-store sales. And they talked about the fact that which I didn't say anything, but it's just like outrageous, you know? But they did say that, and that they would look less favorably around coming to Prince George's County or continuing to come into Prince George's County, and that others would look, less favorably if this type of legislation were to be passed. They did, though, have to acknowledge the fact that they were living under similar rules in Virginia, but there really was very strong opposition from the larger sort of retailer, small business types of folks. I just wanted to give you guys that context. And this has already, we've already had this hearing. I mean, this hearing has passed. We'll see whether or not it moves, but there was significant opposition, just letting you all know.
Well, what was interesting also was that there was no discussion relative to the impact that it has on the health of the people in the area where these stores are. The focus was on sales, Senator Augustine, if you recall, but it had, there was no one who talked about the health and the what happens with these stores being present in communities.
I absolutely agree with you that was the significant part of the discussion, and there was the additional discussion of the difficulty of managing it if we gave, for example, in Prince George's County, 27 municipalities and the county the opportunity to have this additional authority. That was the discussion. So that's what happened with the bill, y'all.
Okay. All right. Senator Pinsky, Senator Roosevelt, and then Mr. Kenneth Battle.
Yeah, thank you, Madam Chair. Look, I don't like smoking. I don't like kids smoking. I want us to be careful. This is a statewide bill, and I want to be careful we don't start endorsing or opposing statewide bills, because it'd be a lot of bills that would be coming before our committee.
I agree.
We have you, Madam Chair. We have Senator Augustine on finance. Senator Kramer's on finance. I don't know if there's anybody else in Montgomery County. Look, I trust you to raise the issue and lead the charge. So again, while I'm sympathetic, I want us to be careful of starting to endorse or oppose statewide bills, because that'll just take over our whole agenda.
I agree.
That's my only concern.
I agree with you on that, Senator Pinsky. I just thought it was so urgent because of the impact that it's having on our communities that I would bring it to attention. Okay, Senator Roosevelt.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, I agree generally with what Paul said, although given the way you and others are describing the impact of this, I mean, if we can't get a statewide bill, we might want to think about a county bill. So that's one thing to think about. But the other question I want to ask is the regulation at state level is now not under the controller's office, right? It's under the Alcohol and Cigarette Commission, right?
Right.
Yes, yes.
And this bill is only about enforcement, right?
No,
Okay, what am I missing? I thought the licenses was still from the state level.
but it
This-
exempts it overrules the court case that said a county can't exceed a state law, the preemption issue. So the bill does a number of things.
So under this, counties could have their own licensing requirements?
No,
More stringent.
no, my understanding is that those things stayed at the state, specifically taxation and licensing.
Right.
This had to do with additional restrictions on the sale of these products.
Right,
So if you wanted to put an additional, say, limit the time that.
I
it-
see, I understand. So you could have the
So
business.
let's say
but
you
might have
limit the
limits.
time that it was sold. In the city of Baltimore, they got problems with Lucy's being sold. And, you want to put some additional things around the sale of it, not the licensing, not the taxation.
Okay, thank you. That clarifies it for me. Thank you.
hey, Mr. Battles, good to see you. Kenneth?
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just wanted to add in that the council, in terms of taking an official position, is on our General Assembly Committee agenda tomorrow. So they will take a position then. And I also wanted to indicate that MACO has taken a position on this, and looking at their position statement, it verifies what Senator Augustine was indicating, that is on enforcement specifically. So without impeding existing state laws with regard to licensing and so forth. So that's the case, but I just wanted to make sure it was clear that the council hasn't taken a position yet, but it's on our agenda tomorrow. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, moving right along, I think that we've discussed that, and I do agree that we do have to be careful with these local bills. And I do understand that clearly. So I want to thank you, Senator Pinsky, for bringing that to our attention. Now we're talking now about the liquor expansion bill. PG 305. Yeah, I'm sorry.
Senator, I have Terrence Shepard from the Liquor Board in the waiting room,
Yes.
ready to enter. Okay, I'll let him in.
Madam Chair.
Yeah, he needs to talk to us about PG 305-22.
Mr. Shepard?
Ron is okay too. Ron should be there.
Good morning.
Yes.
Good morning, Mr. Shepard.
Good morning. Good to see everyone. Can everyone hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay,
Senator Benson?
yes.
He's waiting for us to ask what questions we have for him related to the
We
bill.
would like for him to, good morning, how are you doing today? We just want you to talk to us about PG 305-22. What does it do? And talk to us just a little bit, please.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me on and giving me the opportunity to explain to you some of the licensing issues that we have here. So just so that everyone knows, currently we have 4 different types of licenses. We have what's known as an A license, and those are for liquor stores. So we're not asking for any increases whatsoever as it relates to liquor stores. Then we have a B license, which relates to our restaurants here in Prince George's County. And we have C licenses, and those are fraternal orders and things of those natures. And then we have a D license, which is sort of kind of everything else. Our supermarkets fall under Ds, hair salons fall under Ds, other locations fall under Ds. So this particular bill deals specifically with our B licenses. So on hand right now, we are authorized to issue 185 B licenses that the restaurants can serve beer, wine, and liquor. This has been increased over the course of the last 10, 15 years by 10 to 15. I don't have the exact time and space where those have been increased. So despite the pandemic over the course of the last 2 years, businesses are thriving, new businesses are opening up. And what we've experienced is the beer, wine, and liquor license is the one that most restaurants want. We have restaurants that have the ability to serve just beer. I believe we have about 23 of those, and we have 4 on hand to give out. But that's not the license that most restaurants want. Then we have 45 licenses that are allowed to serve beer and light wine. And we have about 26 of those on hand to give out. Then we have 185 beer, wine, and liquor licenses on hand. And as it stands right now, we have 12 left to give out. So the way it works is we have a filing deadline. So these applications must be on file for 60 days in our office before the hearing. So the beer, wine, and liquor licenses for restaurants are given out once per quarter. So with the number that we have on hand right now, we can make it till this time next year before we run out. So what's been typically happening in our hearings for the last 6 or 7 months is, since this is the license that everyone wants, only allowed to give out 3 because we don't want to run out. So there's competition for these licenses. And typically what happens is the competition is for about 7 or 8 licensees. They come in, they give their presentation, and now the board has to make a decision as to which of the 3 licensees that have applied for this license is more deserving. And it's based off of a number of different, criteria that the board finds necessary to make this decision. So what happens is if we give out 3, and then the next quarter rolls around, the 3 that didn't get it, or the 4 to 5 that didn't get it, are now going to come back around, in addition to any new licensees that now want the license. And it just creates a situation where there's a constant competition for those 3 licenses once per quarter. So I believe if we increase this number, we can accommodate more businesses. And restaurants, quite frankly, restaurants, I don't believe that anyone's going to complain about the number of restaurants that are allowed to serve beer, wine, and liquor. And just for reference, Prince George's County is only one of 3 jurisdictions in the state of Maryland that limits these licenses. Baltimore County limits their licenses, and it's based off of population. Baltimore City limits this beer, wine, and liquor license for restaurants in certain judicial jurisdictions. And then I believe that there's one other, I don't recall if it's Wycomico or Washington County, that limits the number of these licenses. So given all of that, what's happening with the pandemic, the constant growth that's occurring in Prince George's County, businesses are thriving, businesses want this type of license. I just believe that at this particular time, it's necessary to increase this restaurant license. The other thing that should be noted about this particular license, this is for small businesses. This particular license is not for our chain restaurants like a Applebee's or a Longhorn Steakhouse or even a Red Lobster, because those particular licenses are unlimited. They fall into the category of what's known as a BLX. It's a luxury license. We can issue as many of those luxury licenses as we can take applications for. The luxury license is for licenses that have at least 100 seats, and for those licensees that spend a minimum of $1 million inside the building. These particular licenses, these B licenses, are for small businesses. At the hearing last Tuesday, I believe we had 7 licensees, and they were all for restaurants that had less than 50 seats for the most part. And that's pretty much the presentation, and that's why we need them. And I'm be willing to answer any questions, or hopefully answer any questions that you may have about this particular license.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Yes, first we want to hear from Senator Patterson and then Senator Penske.
Okay. Mr. Director, didn't get your name there, but presently you got 185 and you want to take it up to what, 215?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so a 30 additional license.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Could you use more if that number was higher?
We could use more. So we're allowed to hand out what we advertise for. So about 3 years ago, prior to 3 years ago, we were only advertising 1. So that meant we could only give out 1. But what we found is there was nothing in the law that prevented us from giving out more. So we started advertising 3. Do I believe that we could give out more? Yes, we could. I do believe that the 20 increase. So what I would do with the 20 increase is instead of offering 3, I would now offer 4 or 5.
Okay.
And that would, increase the ability for licensees to obtain this license instead of just giving out 3.
Okay. All right. Thank you much.
Senator Penske?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Shepherd, over the last 2 or 3 years, how many of these restaurants go under and return their license? Obviously, it's been a tough time under COVID. And I know every time a restaurant opens, there are some that are closing because they can't make it. So what kind of return or companies going under are you finding over the last few years annually?
So this is something that we specifically started tracking during COVID because I was just paying attention. I was really concerned about the number of businesses that were going to cease to operate. And under COVID, in the first 2 to 3 years, there was actually only 3 licensees that went under due to COVID concerns. The majority of the licensees that do not renew is anywhere from 4 to 5 per year. And they generally don't renew for one of 2 reasons. They don't renew because business just isn't bad, business just isn't as good. Or a lot of times what happens is they have tax concerns with the comptroller's office, and we're not allowed to renew any licensees that have tax issues. So generally, I would say anywhere from 3 to 4.
Okay, my second question, do these restaurants have to sell a certain percentage of their their reporting receipts in food? Is it like 70% of their receipts must come from food?
That's correct.
Which leads to the question of enforcement. I mean, this gets back to an issue of too many liquor stores, which I know Senator Augustine has mentioned a few times, making sure these are true restaurants that serve alcohol rather than operations that are primarily bars and they're fudging their food sales. So I guess my question is, of these 185, how confident are you in presenting to our committee today that they truly are restaurants that also sell beer, wine, and liquor, opposed to ones that aren't selling much food and for all intents and purposes are bars?
That's a great question, Senator Penske. So there are always locations that kind of that pose as one thing, and then they end up being something else. And we can generally tell what those restaurants are. They're more of the lounge type restaurants. So I'm fairly confident that the licensees that we are issuing, I'd say 90 to 95% of them are actual restaurants. If we just look at, for instance, the last hearing that we had, one of the licensees that I believe there were 6. One of them is called Corey's Modern Kitchen. That's over off of Off Place on across from the Red Lobster. I don't know if anyone's familiar with that particular place. The other one was Double T Diner up in Laurel. They didn't receive it. There was a place called Acapulco up in Laurel, which was one of the ones that I was rooting for because it's a Mexican restaurant and I really enjoy Mexican food, but they didn't actually get it. So I'm about 95% confident that the licensees that are applying are real restaurants.
Right, but I guess my question is to the 185 existing. I guess I don't want to add,
right,
if we have some that are abusing it. And I guess I'd like to know that you have 90 to 95% confidence the other 185 that hold these licenses are in fact bringing in 70% of the receipts based on food. And I don't know how sure you are of those 185. I'm less concerned about the new ones, but I want to be sure if these truly are restaurants, I'm much more open to it. But if I'm not so confident that all 185 aren't just, some of them are bars disguised as restaurants, then I'd have some concerns.
Right, and that's rightfully so. I cannot give a number as to the current restaurants that are in existence. You know, how confident I am about those, 173 are actually restaurants. But I can certainly look into that and get a number back to you as quickly as possible.
Well, for me, and I'll stop, Madam Chair, and this gets back to conversation we had last year, Senator Augustine and Ms. Fisher, Delegate Fisher raised. I mean, I just don't know those 173, if you're auditing and looking at their receipts. And I guess I'd like to have a high degree of confidence that they are restaurants selling alcohol, opposed to lounges selling alcohol and selling a little bit of food. And I think depending on your answer, it would speak to my willingness to expand it. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Senator Rosapap?
Thank you. Following up on Paul's question. Terrence, do you audit their books annually to figure this out? How do you enforce on current holders?
We do not audit books of our licensees in order to make a determination. It's really just kind of an eye test when an inspector goes in to look at a place. It's really just more of an eye test. We don't audit the books of our restaurants.
Is that because you don't have the authority to, or you just decided not to, and you do have the authority?
No, we definitely have the authority to do it, but that's just not something that we've ever taken part in. So if we suspect that they're not, then we have the ability, by all means, to go in and audit their books. And we do have the ability to do it, but it would be such a time-consuming, thing for us to do. So it wouldn't be something that we would do unless we suspect that they're not.
Well, with due respect, and your inspectors are much better eyeballs than I do, but I would think it's hard to judge this by eyeballing it. I mean, yes, you can get the extreme cases, but frankly, I think before we go on a big expansion in this area, you at least got to do it once, and check out, so we have a level, we have a level of what's going on in the county before we start expanding. That'd be my suggestion. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay, Senator Augustine?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Shepherd, do these licenses have legislative district restrictions on them of any sort?
No, these particular licenses do not. The only licenses that, for the most part, that have the B licenses that have legislative jurisdiction restrictions are those that would be in the developmental district, or those that would be in an arts and entertainment district. Those are the only legislative, caps that would be on those types of licenses.
Okay, have you done an analysis to see where these are as it relates to just overall alcohol density? I got to tell you, in keeping with what some of my colleagues have said, I mean, we definitely have quote unquote restaurants that really do seem to not sell too much food, at least in the area that I represent. So I just would be curious about that as you're talking and looking at the expansion. And the other thing would be where folks are looking for these additional licenses, sort of like that map of it. I'd appreciate it. I know you have the information. I just think it'd be worthwhile to just to have that be a part of this discussion.
Yes, absolutely. So I can tell you that the majority of the licensees that have been applying over the course of the last 2 cycles for these beer, wine, and liquors, what we do is we go out and we kind of take a look at them, and a good majority of them are in Laurel. A good majority of them are in Hyattsville, and a good majority of them are in locations such as Cheverly and Bladensburg, and even Capitol Heights to that. So for the last 2 cycles, that's where they are.
Question?
Madam Chair.
Oh, let's see you in a minute. Where is she?
She's on mute. Senator Benson, you're on mute.
Okay, I think she just called on me. Thank you, Madam Chair. I wanted to just join, but I actually wanted to join the concerns of my colleagues that have preceded me in terms of enforcement of those bad actors that are leading to this conversation. But I do want to speak in support of the concept of Prince George's County adding some small, authentic, family style restaurants in the county as we continue to brand the county for arts, entertainment, destination kind of venues. I absolutely love the idea of not just having the Olive Gardens and Applebee's, but having, the kinds of venues that people can dine and socialize in, and understand the value of having the beer, wine, and alcohol licenses in those venues. So for me, there are two tracks for this conversation. One is enforcement and of those that have existing licenses, but I would hate to have us not be able to welcome new businesses, particularly restaurants and venues in central and southern Prince George's County in particular, that would require or benefit from that license. And so I just wanted to make sure that I was on record as supporting the attraction of new restaurants to Prince George's County.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair.
All right. Senator Patterson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I'd like to do what the President Pro Tem said. We usually don't get too many things in the southern part of the county, and we are looking at the idea of expanding to our facilities, new restaurants, and we don't want to cut off that stream of funding either. So I would like to ask Mr. Shepherd if he's going to be providing some more information, because some of the things that we sort of putting out there on the table going to come at a cost. I mean, if you had to inspect all these facilities, I mean, would that be a heavy burden on your budget? You don't know at this point.
So adding 20 additional licensees to our inspection schedule, or 30 additional licensees to our inspection schedule, is not a heavy burden. It's just not. I have to be honest.
It's been sort of advocated here that you should go out and be inspecting these places to know which one may be, and they're going on there doing the wrong thing. And I'm saying to do that, you got to send a staff person out there or something.
Yes, that is true.
Okay.
But it's not something that's outside of.
But if you never done it, you really don't know unless you do a sort of budget layout, would you? Okay, I'm all right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, Senator Patterson. Okay, Senator Watson.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Let me ask a question, because I'm kind of stuck on the whole lounge piece and trying to get a better understanding of why are lounges negative? When I go around the county, you know, I'll go into a pool hall that may have a liquor license that doesn't sell any food. I may go into a cigar bar that doesn't sell food but has a liquor license, and these are all small businesses, many times owned by minorities that do not in any way, shape, or form detract from the community. And I'm curious, from a historical perspective, what is the negative connotation associated with lounges in Prince George's County?
Is that directed towards me, Senator
Yes,
Watson?
sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So a lot of our lounges, in order to get what's known as a special entertainment permit, they have to go through a certain process. They have to get a security approval through the police department in order to get that special entertainment permit. And what that special entertainment permit allows them to do is to have live entertainment from 9 o'clock in the evening until 2 or 3 in the evening, depending upon what day of the week it is. And they have to get approval to do that. So the majority of the issues that our licensees may have would stem from that special entertainment permit.
So if they have the special entertainment permit, then there's nothing restricting them from getting a liquor license Class B?
Well, you have to have the Class B first. Okay, so we don't give them both out at the same time. You would have to establish that you're a restaurant, and then you would apply for the special entertainment permit later on.
So that's the challenge that I have. So there's a lot of development going on in my district. We're looking at all sorts of venues. And of course, we've talked about for a couple of years now, the county executive's idea of having an entertainment pavilion. But in my district, we're looking at trying to establish comedy clubs and those sorts of venues where the main item sold would not be food. It would be entertainment. It would be, you know, watching comedians with a full service bar. And it just sounds to me like this is an impediment that doesn't need to exist if we want to attract a wide array of establishments, not just those that serve food. Of course, I like to have a nice glass of wine when I go to a restaurant, but a variety of venues. And I'm trying to figure out what is the balancing act, ensuring compliance with those who already have it, but ensuring that those new establishments, those establishments that cause us to think outside the box in our respective communities to generate more economic revenue, that there's no impediments. You know, how can we, you know, get the best of both worlds? And I'm looking to you for some guidance here.
Absolutely. Thank you, Senator Watson. So if you were, for instance, say you were to open up a comedy club and you wanted to serve beer, wine, and liquor. At this particular time, I do not know of a license that we could issue to accommodate what it is you're requesting. So we do have D licenses where there's no food requirement, but you are only allowed to serve beer and wine. It's the mixed drinks piece which causes issue in issuing that particular license. We just don't, at this time, we don't have a license that would allow you to do what you are suggesting.
What about the BLX license?
So a BLX license is reserved for restaurants that have 100 seats or more, and they spend at least $1 million inside the business. So that's specifically for restaurants. They have to have a full menu. It must be available at all times. That's the purpose of a BLX restaurant. It is specifically reserved for a restaurant.
Okay.
Madam Chair, I know you got a line, but I just want to share with you, I have a hard stop in 3 minutes. And so I just want to put that out there to the body.
Oh, boy.
I do as well.
I do too.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Madam Chair, I'm sorry. Oh, people with hands up, I'll shut up.
Okay. Senator Pinsky. wait a minute, let's go back to Senator Augustine. We have to stop in 3 minutes?
Oh, no, Madam Chair, yeah, I'm just saying I have a hard stop in 3 minutes. I'm gonna have to get off.
I was going to say, we don't want you to leave. We want you to stay with us, Senator Augustine.
Me too.
Don't leave us.
I gotta go.
Oh, man. Okay, Senator Penske, and then Senator Jackson, and then we'll move on.
I think Senator Jackson was before me, Madam Chair.
Okay.
Thank you, Madam Chair. Mr. Shepherd, thank you for your presentation. Last year, this body, along with the General Assembly, passed HB 980, which enhances the mapping and zoning for my district and part of the President Pro Tem's district, where much of that area of Prince George's County was the last or yet to be developed area of the county. And so we have some high hopes on what the future of Southern Prince George's County looks like on the central and eastern area. So you're asking for 30 additional licenses as you move forward. Is there? I guess my question deals with the number 30 versus the ability to quantify or qualify why you would need more licenses, right? So as we move forward, suppose we need more, will you then have to come back to us to enhance it if necessary? I'm not sure.
Absolutely, Senator Jackson. So as I said before, this number has increased over the course of the last 10 to 15 years. And, I've tried to research to figure out why the number was originally capped the way it was. I've spoken with a few attorneys, and I believe it was capped because 40, 50 years ago, restaurants could do takeout over the bar, right? So we still have maybe one or two restaurants. We still have a few restaurants that are allowed to do that. You can go into a restaurant and be like, okay, well, I'll just take a 6-pack of beer and I'll take that to go. And they could serve that over the bar to go. So I believe the original reason why that number was capped had to do with the population in Prince George's County and because the liquor stores did not want competition. So that number was initially capped. As I started to do my research and look around the state, that's when I realized that Prince George's County was unique with Baltimore County and some locations in Baltimore City. It's capped for that reason. And as you know, the county continues to increase in population. Businesses are still thriving. And it depends on what happens in the county. If the county continues to grow, then yes, absolutely, we would need to come back and ask for an increase, as we did 7-8 years ago. We asked for an increase 7-8 years ago.
Okay, thank you.
I'm sorry, Senator Rosenpep.
Yeah, very briefly. Senator Watson, they came before us to expand the number of restaurants that were allowed to serve alcohol. If you come up with a comedy club, you can always request a special license. I mean, this was not to talk about not having lounges or bars or comedy clubs. It was just about restaurants. And some of us raised the question, since restaurants to get these licenses have to sell 70% food, do they know whether the restaurants are complying? And this gets to my question, Mr. Shepherd. In terms of the site test and look test, I mean, your people have to go into these restaurants anyway to make sure they're not serving underage young people. So I guess my question is, on your check sheet, when your people go in, do they say, look, I saw 10 of the 12 tables with meals in front of them, or just something? I understand the audit might take money and time that Senator Roosevelt was talking about. It just seems to me we'd like to have a sense that no one of the existing 173 are abusing it. And that part of the checklist when your people go into these restaurants is to really look at whether meals are being served. That's all. If there's a burger in front of them or a salmon plate or whatever, I think we just want to know before we expand that the other 173 are being good actors. That's all. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Okay. All right, we'll hold what, we're gonna vote on this in 2 weeks. We'll put this on the agenda to vote on in 2 weeks. I want to thank this wonderful gentleman for the presentation today. Mr. Shepherd, you did a wonderful job. I want to really thank you so much for taking the time to talk to the senators this morning. It's really wonderful. And we will be voting on this in 2 weeks. Thank you, Mr. Shepherd.
Thank you, Senator Benson. It's always a pleasure.
All right, have a great day.
You as well.
Okay, now we're at the Southern Maryland Hospital for a discussion. Senator Jackson, you're on.
Yes, ma'am. Senator Benson and members of the Prince George delegation, I had a meeting last week with the leadership for the MedStar Southern Maryland Hospital. I have a packet that will be delivered to your office, some of the concerns they have and some of the help they're seeking. Some of which, I think it was mentioned earlier, that Maryland Hospital Association has engaged. So we're not trying to usurp, or they're not trying to usurp any authority that they have there. Yes, ma'am. Thank you. But there are some needs that the hospital has, as does the Capital Region Hospital in Laurel and the others. I just want to make sure that we keep that in the forefront, and I will submit that list to you for some capital. We have some capital requests, but there are also some long-term. There's a long-term concept that they have that I'd like to share with the body, and I just want to make sure that we are engaging the county executive's office and this body and the House delegation as we move forward with that. It's an integral part of Southern Maryland, the health and well-being of the citizens in the southern tier. As we all know, we've heard legislation since I've been in the General Assembly. This will make 8 years. Dealing with the healthy living of our citizens. The traffic congestion in the southern part, the power plants in that region, rubble fields and mining and the like. And so, MedStar Southern Maryland has been engaged with the community extensively over my 8 years as a legislator. And I just want to make sure that we get that on the radar screen. So I will deliver that document to each office. And I just don't want them, as we don't want any of our healthcare providers to be left out of the conversation when we're talking about healthcare. That's it, pretty much it.
Okay, Senator Jackson, do you want to elaborate on a couple of the concerns that really jump out?
Yes, ma'am. Like the Capital Region, there's also an effort for a cancer center there as well. They've done some extensive work with the emergency room, where they've pretty much taken care of that on their own, but there are some other enhancements they're looking to move to the single occupancy rooms that other hospitals have gone to recently. And obviously building out the campus. If you're familiar with the Southern Maryland Hospital, in front of that hospital was Colony South, and I think we've all been there for it. That is now completely gone. They're looking to expand the footprint of the hospital in the southern part of the county. I'm not sure if we're talking about a Franklin Square concept, but a concept where we're looking to broaden the healthcare that's provided for the citizens in the county. So that package will be for you. We had the presentation on Wednesday or Thursday, so they have sent invitation to us. We'll make sure that each member gets that.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Madam Chair. Madam Chair.
Yes.
Mr.
Patterson.
Could I just add a bit to the discussion from Senator Jackson? I think he's right on, but I think we would hope that you would not forget Fort Washington Hospital that's down in that very same area. And about 3 months ago, I had sent a president out to meet with the board of directors out there to explore a long range of fundings. And Senator Pinsky, I'd like to ask you, is there a special formula And the president did make some indication to it for hospitals that are in areas that access to good health care is not readily available. He mentioned that. I got to follow up with him personally on it, but I'm just curious, would there be any pot of money through some kind of special formula that could be utilized for hospitals?
That's a great question, Senator. I don't know the answer to it.
Okay.
Madam Chair, if I might, Senator Patterson, I would never forget the Fort Washington. So I actually had the pleasure of serving on that board for almost 4 years. So I am very much aware of the challenges. Again, it's the Southern Maryland area of our county that we have some concerns that we just don't want to get lost. As a matter, as we talk about our transportation challenges through Southern Maryland, 70,000 people from Charles County every day, St. Mary's County, Calvert County adds to that number. Those hospitals stay pretty busy. And, at the end of the day, we want to make sure that Prince George's provides the necessary health care. So thank you for reminding me.
All right.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And I'll make sure everybody gets that documentation.
Thank you very much. Now, tell me again, could you tell me again the role that the Maryland Hospital Association is playing in this? What role are they playing?
I believe, and I think Senator Pensky probably knows a little bit more of this. What I've asked the leadership of the hospital to do is to provide us with where the Maryland Hospital Association is assisting them in their efforts to expand their services or enhance their services, because we certainly don't want to try to get involved there if things are already being addressed. So I am waiting on information. The meeting is today. And again, we just had a meeting, I believe maybe Wednesday or Thursday. So I will find that out as well. I have a meeting with a phone conversation meeting with Miss Peggy and I think their new president. That hospital Christine Ray just retired on Thursday. So they have a new president and CEO, Dr. Stephen Michaels. For the Prince George's County side. So, but we will make sure you get all that information.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Now we're at the suggestions and recommendations. I want Tosha, I want you to talk a little bit about that.
Yes, I'll be very brief, Senators. I was looking when I came aboard to see if there was any precedents for how often you all sent out press releases about what is going on with the delegation. I didn't see anything. So I would like to suggest that we at least just send out something once a month. It's something I can get information from your offices from via email and shoot it around for everyone's approval and then get it out. But it just seems to me that everyone should know what the delegation is doing or what you're doing in your separate districts. Okay, scheduled meetings, as Madam Chair already said, we will be meeting every other week. So we will not meet next Monday, but we will meet the Monday after that. And I will get the notices out. I apologize for all of the different notices this time. It was me trying to get everything straight with OIS. And also the Senate delegation does not have a website or any social media presence. The House delegation does. Is there a reason why you all do not want to have that? Or is that something that you would be interested in? And it would just be probably starting off with social media where you could put information out about what bills the delegation is supporting or things that are going on in the district. And I would be the person who would be managing those sites if it's something that the delegation wants.
I think that it's an excellent idea. I don't know about the rest of the senators, but I think it would be very, very helpful for us to have a website and social media. I want to hear the input of the other senators. If you all have a disagreement or if you think it's an excellent idea, then we need to hear that. Otherwise, I think we need to proceed on with the press release at least once a month that talks a little bit about, I mean, listen, we're doing a great job down here. I mean, we're working hard. I know we're working hard. I don't have to ask anybody. I see it, I sense it. And I think it's important that people know that we're not down here twiddling our thumbs. And so I think those press releases are important. I think that we need to be sure that the public back here in Prince George's County do in fact understand what some of the pertinent pieces of legislation that we're trying to move for the good of the county and how well we're working with the county executive. You know, we need to get that information out. So I want to hear if anyone has any objections to any of these suggestions. I certainly would like to hear from you now.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes,
Let
Senator.
let me just say that I strongly support that. And I think the being able to put something out monthly should be the minimum, okay? And we should be a little more fluid, and that's how the House was. They were very fluid and timely in presenting information. We do recognize that we're in this era of social media and Instagram and those types of things where folks are consuming content in a variety of different ways, not just the old traditional ways. And as such, we as senators need to adapt and accommodate as well. But I do believe that it would serve a variety of purposes, much like surveys, to make sure we're focused on what our respective communities want us to focus on, and creating that communication flow that has been missing for quite some time, frankly, that we need to make sure that we are, all working in the same direction for Prince George's County. So I'm very strongly supportive of it. Even in the House, there was a collective effort to help us organize graphics and those types of things that we could put down on our social media, because once we agreed on a direction, we could all send the same messages out through a variety of means. So I think it's a great idea, and I'll do anything I can to help support it. And if you need me, just reach out, because I think it's a great idea.
We've already talked with the president's office. I mean, we've had conversations. They are very, very supportive. They are very open, and Atosha has done a wonderful job in communicating with everyone so that we can we want to do this as quickly as possible. And so we'll reach out to you, and I just think it's a wonderful idea.
Good.
Okay.
I support it.
Is there anything else that we need to be talking about, Tosha?
No, ma'am, that is all of our items. I will get any follow-up emails sent out to your offices either today or tomorrow. Are there any announcements?
Also, if for the next 2 weeks, we need to hear, don't you all wait until the last minute to give us the items for discussion, because we want to work closely with the attorney who's going to do the presentation of the bills from now on. And we don't want to wait until the last minute to pull our agenda together. So that would be very, very helpful. The sooner the better. Any items that you feel that should be that should be added to the agenda or to the agenda would be really helpful as soon as possible. Okay.
Thank you much.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you all very, very much. And wait a minute, are we in tonight, or are we what's going on? What's the schedule for tonight?
I think we're pro forma, right?
Pro forma.
Pro forma? Okay, which means that we see each other in the morning.
Yes.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. Goodbye, Senators.
Okay.
Crystal.
Thank you, Crystal.
Thank you.